Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to build a toolkit, but not for your house. This one is for making sense of all the financial numbers and data that are flying around us every single day. Let's jump right in.
You know that feeling, right? You look at all these charts and financial returns and it just feels like trying to read a completely different language. But here's the thing, you're not alone and it's not as complicated as it looks. You just need the right tools to translate it all.
And that is exactly what we are going to do today. We're going to add 4 really powerful concepts to your toolkit one by one. The goal here is to help you start navigating this world of numbers with some real confidence. Okay, first up, let's grab our very first tool. This one is all about understanding one of the most fundamental ideas in finance, risk. Or, if you want to get a little more technical, what statisticians call variability.
So the first concept is called dispersion. Honestly, think of it like this. If you're shooting at a target and all your shots are clustered right near the bullseye, that's low dispersion. But if your shots are scattered all over the board, well, that's high dispersion. In the world of finance, high dispersion means your returns are inconsistent, which, you guessed it, means higher risk.
So check this out. Imagine you have 2 investments. Over time, they could have the exact same average return. But investment A, it's steady, it's consistent. Investment B, though, is all over the place. That's high dispersion. So even if they average out to the same number, the journey with investment B is a much, much wilder and riskier ride.
Okay, so that brings up a really good question. How in the world can you compare the risk of 2 totally different things? I mean, a big, volatile $1,000 stock and a small $100 bond, that feels like comparing apples and oranges, doesn't it?
Well, this is where the coefficient of variation, or just CV, comes into play. It's a really clever tool that basically levels the playing field. It ignores the dollar amounts and just measures the relative risk. It lets you make a true apples-to-apples comparison no matter what you're looking at.
All right, so knowing the overall risk is great. But let's be honest, we're usually way more worried about the risk of losing money than we are about the risk of making too much, right? And that brings us to our second tool, which zeroes in on just the bad news.
And this tool is called downside risk. It's a beautifully simple idea, really. Instead of looking at all the volatility, the ups and the downs, this tool just filters out all the good news and forces you to focus only on the risk of your returns falling below a point that you actually care about, like say, breaking even at 0%.
And that's why this is so powerful. Downside risk is personal. It lets you set the target. It helps you answer that really crucial question. What are the odds that I'm not going to meet my specific financial goal? That's the stuff that matters. Okay, we've covered risk. Now let's switch gears and add a tool for measuring performance. Because it's one thing to know your own score, but it's way more useful to know how that score stacks up against everyone else.
The tool for this is called Deciles, and it's a super simple idea. You just take any group of data, say test scores for a whole class, sort them from lowest to highest, and then you slice them into 10 equal groups. Each of those slices is a decile, and it instantly tells you where you rank in the pad.
So let's make this real. Imagine your boss comes to you and says your performance review puts you in D9, or the 9th decile. It sounds kind of technical and weird, but what does it actually tell you?
It's fantastic news. That's what it means. Being in the 9th decile means your performance was better than 90% of everybody else. Boom. Instantly, you have context. You know you're in the top 10%. That's the power of deciles.
Okay, so far, our tools have been looking at one thing at a time, right? The risk of one investment, the rank of one person, but we all know the real world is way more interconnected than that. Our final tool helps us see how different things relate to each other.
And that tool is called correlation. It's a pretty simple question, really. Is there a relationship between 2 different things? When one thing goes up, does the other go up too? Or maybe it goes down, or maybe there's no relationship at all. Correlation helps us figure that out. For example, There's a positive correlation between the hours you study and your test scores. They tend to go up together. Makes sense. Then there's a negative correlation between winter coat sales and ice cream sales. And of course, some things have no correlation at all, like your height and the price of a stock. Understanding this helps you see all these hidden connections.
All right, we have our tools. We can measure risk, we can rank performance, we can see how things are connected. But you know, tools are only useful if you have a plan. So let's talk about a simple but really powerful strategy to put all this into practice.
I love this quote because it gets right to the heart of the matter. So much stress in finance comes from people trying to perfectly time the market, to guess the absolute best moment to buy or sell. But what if there was a strategy that just removes all that guesswork?
Well, there is. It's called cost averaging. And the idea is just wonderfully simple. You invest the exact same amount of money on a regular schedule, like clockwork. You don't care if the market is up, you don't care if it's down. You just stick to the plan.
And it really is that straightforward. You pick your amount, you pick your date, and you just let it run. By doing this, you naturally end up buying more when prices are low and fewer when they're high. But the real magic? It takes the emotion out of it. It protects you from yourself, from that temptation to panic sell or get greedy at exactly the wrong time.
And just like that, your starter toolkit is complete. You now have tools to measure risk, a way to understand your rank in a group, a method for seeing connections, and a dead simple strategy to put it all into action.
So, the real question is this. These tools, they aren't just for finance. They can help you find patterns in sports, in business, in science, pretty much anything. So now that you have the toolkit, what hidden stories are you going to uncover in the numbers all around you?